Welcome back to Infamous: The Complete Story. Now, last time we covered the comic book prequels, which went from the explosion to discovering John's goals and what he was trying to accomplish. So now it's time to go into the actual first game. But keep in mind, there is a whole previous video before this, so if you need a full explanation as to what's going on, make sure you check it out. The game opens up with Cole trying to deliver a package, and a man named John chasing him down. What Cole doesn't know is that there is a bomb inside of that package, and there's a massive explosion that goes off once he tries to open it. Then, a period of time passes. A period of time in which Cole was trying to learn his new abilities. Zeke was in shock at the state of the city, and John White had lost the Ray Sphere. Now, the Ray Sphere is what gave everyone powers, and if you want to learn more about that, make sure you check out our last video. But between the explosion and now, there's been a plague set loose and the government has quarantined the city. No one can get in and out of Empire City right now. Now Cole begins to learn the basic powers that he has, and his friend Zeke and himself try to help the city out because the city just had a large food drop stolen. Cole runs around taking out gang members trying to rescue the food, but the Voice of Survival, a television broadcast, blames Cole for the loss of the food, branding him an enemy to the people of the city. To make matters worse for him, his girlfriend Trish is partially blaming him for the death of her sister at Ground Zero. Because he's pretty much public enemy number one and his girlfriend wants nothing to do with him, Zeke and Cole decide that they're going to try to escape the city and climb over the quarantine wall so they can get help for everyone inside. Now at that wall there is a large military force that opens fire on all of the civilians, and Cole defends them and destroys everything there trying to harm them. While he doesn't escape the city, he does draw the attention of Moya Jones, an FBI agent. She recognizes Cole from footage at Ground Zero. She quickly gets a hold of him and she explains that her husband, John White, was trying to infiltrate the First Sons organization to acquire the Ray Sphere, but he vanished the day before the quarantine was put into place. Now, we the viewers know what happened to him, and if you're confused, make sure you go check out our previous videos. But she agrees to get Cole out of the city if he can help her find John and the Ray Sphere. Now obviously, since Cole wants to get out of the city, he agrees, and our real adventure begins. Cole goes on a series of requests and random missions, and eventually he restores power to the city while fighting off varying gangs that have taken over the areas. He learns from these gangs that they were all originally a part of a First Sons organization. That is, until a man named Kessler showed up and took control. One person in particular, Alden, eventually gets away from Cole, and he gets his hands on the Ray Sphere. But Cole arranged for Zeke and himself to get into Alden's base, and without much effort, they managed to defeat Alden, and Zeke gets his hands on the Ray Sphere while Cole is busy fighting off all the other gang members. Zeke realizes that this is the thing that gave Cole all those cool superpowers, and he decides to activate it so he can have cool superpowers. But nothing happens. The man behind everything, Kessler, then steps up, and he tells Zeke that if he comes with him, he can fix the Ray Sphere and give Zeke powers. Zeke agrees to go with Kessler, taking the Ray Sphere with him and leaving Cole behind just as Cole finishes off the last of the gang members. Alden then goes crazy over losing this super powerful device, and he destroys his own tower, leaving Cole in the rubble. When Cole awakens, he realizes that he doesn't have the Ray Sphere, he hasn't stopped the enemies, and Zeke has wandered off with the mastermind behind everything. He quickly finds John and demands to know exactly what is going on here. John explains that he's not from the FBI, nor is he actually Moya's husband. He's actually an undercover NSA agent who helped create the Ray Sphere. John explains that the Ray Sphere absorbs bioenergy from around it, and then it grants powers to the people who are holding it at the cost of all the lives it just sucked up into it. John then urges Cole to give him a hand finding and destroying it before it can take more innocent lives. And they begin their search when Alden shows up on a rampage, destroying half the city. And even though Cole went over to battle with him, he separated Cole from the main city by destroying the bridge. Cole ends up in the historical district where he meets up with the mastermind behind everything, Kessler, and Kessler gives him a challenge. Can he save 6 nearby citizens? Now, of course Cole does, but then he's given a much harder decision. Does he save his girlfriend Trish, whom Kessler has kidnapped while Cole was busy? Or does he save those 6 civilians once again? Cole can only pick one, but which one will he pick? Well, this is where a player decision will come into play, and regardless of which one you pick, Trish will perish. But did she curse Cole as she died, or did she profess her love for him? Anyway, after giving her a proper burial, Cole decides that it's time to face off with Kessler so he can avenge Trish. John and him end up tracking down and acquiring the Ray Sphere, and while trying to figure out what to do with it, it malfunctions and creates a massive vortex that sucks John up and tears him apart. Boy, this thing doesn't seem like the fun superpowered toy that it's supposed to be. But regardless of that, now the Ray Sphere and John are both also gone. Right after that happened, Kessler contacts Cole and tells him, "Meet me at Ground Zero." Cole shows up at Ground Zero, and Kessler's standing there, and the two of them go to town attacking each other. Cole has lost his city, his friends, Trish and John, and killed so many people all for this race fear, and it didn't even work! And it's all Kessler's fault. As their fight would continue onward, Kessler would mention how much he loved Trish and asked her to forgive him. Confused, Cole would continue the fight against him until Kessler finally placed his hands on Cole's head and he shared all of his memories so that Cole would finally understand everything. You see, Kessler's from an alternate reality in which the world was ravaged by a powerful being known as the Beast, a really powerful conduit. Kessler tried to stop the Beast, but he couldn't, and instead he chose to flee with his family. The Beast then chased Kessler and destroyed everything in its path to get to him. Kessler would then watch as his family and the rest of the world would fall apart, and he chose to use his powers to go back in time and rewrite everything. His motivation was all in this one picture of his wedding day. His wedding to Trish and his best man Zeke. It's at this time that Cole realizes Kessler is Cole, and Cole is Kessler. Kessler is just Cole in a timeline where he failed to save everyone. Kessler came back to test and push Cole to be better than he ever was. Cole needed to be ready for the Beast, and Cole now realizes this as Kessler dies in his hands. At this point, the game has two endings depending on if you're a good guy or a bad guy. We're gonna go over the good guy ending first because it's the canon one. Cole walks away from the whole event, reflecting on everything that has happened. He's lost his city, he's lost his friends, he's lost his girlfriend, and he realizes he can't go back to his old life, and he feels as though he needs to help the city get back on its feet. And that's where it's left. What will Cole do next? And will he meet up with Zeke again? In the bad ending, Cole tears apart the entire city, turning it into a wasteland. He declares himself the strongest man in the city, and he laughs at the very idea that he would have used his powers for good. Personally, I did the bad ending. But our story obviously doesn't end here, folks. No, and it doesn't go to Infamous 2. What this means is that we have another comic book story to cover, and just in case you were wondering whatever happened to Moya, well, we'll be explaining that very soon. So I'll see you guys next time right here at Eligible Monster.